good, everybody? This is Brant with CPC Bodybuilding, the home of men's classic physique. Today, we're going to be previewing the Europa Pro, Europe's flagship classic physique show, as well as men's open bodybuilding this weekend, September 17th, which is a Sunday. I've got a special guest here to preview the show with me, IFBB Classic Physique Pro, Yemi Adefioye.
Sheesh. That's good.
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How you doing, bro?
Good, bro. Really excited to get into this one and preview this show and just show the people what's going on with European bodybuilding, man.
Oh yeah, I had a conversation the other day, right? I feel like European bodybuilding is starting to it's really starting to take its own. Like when you look at classic physique, it's I think there's only last year there was only 3 Americans in that top 10. The rest of them were UK or European.
Yeah, lots of talent, man. The talent pool just continues to grow, and you see it at the highest level.
Most definitely. It's actually interesting to look at when you actually look at who's got the best classic physiques. Really cool. But I feel like Brazil is their Mars leaps and bounds ahead. It's actually nuts.
All right, guys. So we're gonna get into this show. So the Europa Pro, like I said, is Sunday, September 17th. So if y'all are wanting to catch this show, you can go to npceuropean.com and go to streaming, and you'll see here that the live stream is available. Now, the show begins at 11 a.m. for prejudging on Sunday, and that's Spain time. And then finals will begin at 5 p.m. Spain time. So it'll be roughly the same time as y'all in the UK. If you're watching from the UK, and if you're in the United States, going to be a very early start. I believe it's 6 a.m. Eastern time. But the live stream is very affordable, so make sure you go and purchase it. It's only 20 euros, which is 21 US dollars roughly. So very affordable if you do want to watch it. NPC European does a great job with their live streams. They usually put on very high quality and HD footage. So make sure you guys tune into that. I'll be giving you guys the updates as they come my way. But before we jump into the lineup, again, just want to give a huge shout out to Yemi for joining me today and taking the time out of his day to preview this show. Yemi is a fantastic classic physique pro on the rise. So we got Yemi's page pulled up right here. You can follow him here at Yemi IFBB Pro on Instagram. Use all of his codes right here. So make sure you give Yemi a follow. And
code.
And we'll go ahead and jump into the lineup, guys. So here we got the full classic physique lineup for the Europa Pro. Like I said, prejudging at 9 a.m., finals at 5. That's Spain time here in Alicante, Spain. So we do have one addition to this lineup, a very key addition that I might mention too. And that is Jose Maria Berry, better known as Model Man to a lot of you guys, a very, very high profile classic physique pro. So he will be in this lineup as well. But here's the full lineup. We've got Jabbar Alquari, Eduardo Cacchetti, Cedric Durand, Valerie Enchev, Pedro Ferreira, Marcos Iglesias Garcia, Patrick Herchik, Philip Jędrzejczyk, Thomas Kuhns, Miguel Malamo, Fernando Gornales Morgal, Luis Garcia Martinez, Roberto Martinez, Sam Michelson, Victor Toledo Pardo making his pro debut, his true pro debut, that is, Herman Pastor, who's already won 2 pro shows this year, Ruben Lopez Reyes, Esteban Smith, and the new age Arnold Wesley. So that's your full lineup here. Again, you can live stream this show at npceuropean.com. But what we're going to do is we're going to hop into this lineup. And our first competitor is Jabbar Alquari at a cutter. And he last appeared at the Atlantic Coast Pro. Here's some recent footage. This is from 12 weeks out, and he's looking like he's in great shape just this far out of a show. He took 8th at the Atlantic Coast last year. So Yemi, when we look at this update, I mean, you can tell he's pretty close to stage condition here already. what do you notice
I can
about
tell that his like stage condition. His whole thing is his glutes. Like he has like really deep lines in the front, but when he turns to the side, you can see like he's still got a little bit more to come off. I reckon he's gonna be super peeled on stage though.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's got really solid structure, especially I like those front shots. The lats really stand out to me. Big
He
lats,
has
small
just
waist.
similar to like quads to like Wesley as well.
Hmm. Yeah, I like the lines through the quads as well. Very classic looking.
Really deep.
Yeah. So that is Jabbar Al-Khwari at a cutter. Next up, like I said, we got a late addition to the lineup. I know originally he was targeting Dubai as his start to the season, but we got model man Jose Maria Berry. Now, Yemi, you've probably seen him more than I have, just given his European appearances.
Yeah,
You
I've seen
probably
him in
you probably saw him in person last year at the Arnold UK, right?
yeah, I saw him in person, mate. This guy, like, I obviously the new weight cap for him is a heaven sent because he didn't actually do the pro show in classic physique. He had to do 212 because he came in over the weight limit. And like legit, like this guy looked like he was on the brink of it because yeah, he was really trying to make that weight. He was in the sauna, coming straight from the sauna in the hotel, was checking in at going straight down and trying to like weigh in, and he wasn't making the weight. But in person, his physique is just super dense. Like he looks really good on Instagram, but he actually looks better in person. I'd always say like he just got like really old muscle, like old man muscle.
Yeah, that
Like you see him like turn to the rear, like it's density. Like this is you don't get this from training, you get this from time.
yeah, that thickness is just crazy, dude. That
Like
density.
that's so thick. I think people like look at this and they don't actually understand like the depth of this physique. Like when you see this person sideways on, it looks like another person.
Especially in the lower body, man. The lower body thickness is what really stands out to me.
Go
That's
to his double back bicep.
Let's see if I can
I
find.
think it, I think it's in the next post. Yeah, okay. Even that one where he's got his arms out, like you can just see the depth in his back. Like that isn't something that you just get. You know, that's God given genetics and a whole bunch of time in the gym.
Yeah,
His physique is so good, and he's super cool. He barely speaks English, but there we go. There's a double back bicep. You know, like that is comparable to like a Terrence almost.
yeah, just beautiful, man. Just beautiful
So
structure,
much detail.
incredible thickness, physique that's been built and forged over time.
Oh yeah, this is time. This is like you don't beat this without a good amount of time in the gym.
Yeah. So that is Jose Maria Berry, aka Model Man. Definitely a guy to watch out for in this lineup at the Europa Pro. Next up, we've got Eduardo Cocchetti out of Italy. So he's making his second appearance this year. He took 14th at the UK Pro. So I think what really stands out to me about his physique is he always comes in very dialed in, just very peeled, always comes in shape. I think he's a taller guy, so really there's some ass for you guys. Hopefully this doesn't get taken down on YouTube, but uh, but the thing about Eduardo is it's really just been filling out his physique. He's a tall guy, and most tall guys have the problem of just filling out, especially their lower half, but their entire physiques. And I mean, if you look at some of these stage shots, like dude looks insane, like the graininess, the hardness. What do you think about Eduardo's physique from what you've seen?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, so I was at the Tree Fest, and yeah, in person, it's just grainy and like super hard muscle. He's really good. I think that he needs a bit more tissue
Yeah,
because his frame is just so big. But he's definitely gonna. He's a good pro. You know, like this is another like when you look at some of these physiques, you just look at them and go, yeah, this is hard to fucking beat.
yeah,
He's
exactly.
like it's gonna be hard for anyone to beat this guy.
Yeah.
He's so good. And like I just think that a lot of guys they miss on conditioning or peaking or whatever it is, but he definitely doesn't. Maybe because he's not that close to the weight cap, but yeah, I really like his physique, man.
Yeah, so that is Eduardo Cochetti out of Italy. Next up, we've got Cedric Durand out of France. So he appeared at the Mr. Big Evolution Pro in Portugal earlier this year, and he took 15th place. I think he's got a great physique. Really, it's just a matter of a couple of things. I think his condition could probably be a touch better, and then I think he needs a little bit more in the pecs as well as the lats. Those are the two things that stand out to me. Yeah, I mean, what do you think of some of these shots?
So he's got really big and like dominant arms. And I think that like when you see guys like this with dominant arms, they tend to have like bad backs and chests because their arms take over when they're training. And this is what you see here. Other than that, I would say, yeah, so I'd agree. Like his back and chest definitely needs some work. His arms are phenomenal, though. Those are crazy arms. He just, I think he needs to dial it in a lot more because this is just not good enough. I'll be honest, like this looks like, 8 weeks out, 10 weeks out for some people. Like this on stage is like softer than the first guy we looked at in comparison. So yeah, when you're like, I feel like there's a lot of like me and Nas have this conversation a lot. There's a lot of black guys. They have such good structures and genetics that they almost don't push conditioning enough. And yeah, this is just a clear shape of like it's a clear like his structure is phenomenal. Like look at his wheels, like they're just so round and bubbly. You
Mm-hmm.
can't you can't train for that either. He's really good, but he just needs to come in like a touch. Oh yeah, a fair bit sharper, man.
Yeah. So that is Cedric Durand out of France. Next up, we got a guy who I think is very capable of coming in and stealing this show if some people don't show up at their best. This is Valerie Enchev, an Olympian from last year. He took second at the UK Pro. And man, I love this guy's lines. What do you think?
Dangerous guy, bro. He had Stefan on the ropes, like from what I saw. It wasn't like a night and day difference between him and Stefan. I would say he's really strong. Like his physique is it's dense, it's round, it's bubbly, it's conditioned. What can you say wrong about this? Like there's nothing to say about it other than this is just phenomenal. Like this is actually so hard to just like really comprehend at times, man. This is so good.
Yeah, definitely no weak points. That's one of the things that makes him really tough to beat. There's no real
Nothing.
poses that you could pick apart and say he needs more here. It's
No
really just a matter of, I think, where he does get beat, though, is where
structure.
Stefan beat him is structure. There are guys who are more classic than him, but what he does is he controls the controllables. He
Mm-hmm.
he comes in sharp. He knows his strengths when it comes to posing, and he trains to put muscle where it needs to be. And
Yeah.
that forges a fantastic physique, what you see here. So I think he's definitely a threat in
He's
that.
definitely a front, 100%.
So that's Valerie Enchev. Next up, we got Pedro Ferreira out of Portugal. And he last appeared at the Mr. Big Evolution Pro stage photos right here. He took ninth place at that show. And what I notice is he brings a really hard, crisp look from a lot of these shots. I don't think these specific photos do him enough justice. Here we go. Here's the 4K footage, but I think this illustrates a little bit more what I mean in terms of like the crisp look. Yemi, what's your take on Pedro's physique?
Yeah, so I think that crisp look comes from just the fact that he has really dense and hard muscle. Some guys like it's like time in the gym kind of thing. It's the same with like Maddo Man or something like that, where like you can get super dense just because you've been in the gym for so long. I think that he does have a few weak points where it kind of like makes him a bit. It does make him susceptible to not really getting in that top five. But at the same time, he does have some really like solid points like that density. I think from the rear, it needs to be a bit sharper. He just looks a bit soft in the glutes and the lower back area to me.
Yeah.
But other than that, he has, well, and his hamstrings as well. But other than that, like from the front, he looks like peeled out of his mind. He's super dense. So it's really hard to like, sometimes it's hard to like tell if they're like in shape or not in shape, at least until you're on stage. And that light is like, it's unforgiving. So it's probably just the missed footstep. That's probably why they took so much time off. He's probably gonna come a lot sharper this show.
Yeah, especially like having one of those physiques, because some people have physiques where it's like one body part gets dialed in way before
Yeah.
the others, or like one side is dialed in before the others. I know I'm that way. Like my posterior, like I have striated glutes at like 7 weeks and my quads still aren't dialed in. So I'm like, it's a struggle sometimes to really get that last bit of fat off. So
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
he
Like
looks great from the front, but the back.
the back is just not there yet. He just needs to be a bit tired, but it's just a time thing. He just needs a bit more time to, really bring it in. So I think he knew that, and I think that's why the show, because he could have easily done, the London show. I believe there was about 2 other shows in between. So I definitely think he's gonna be sharper. So we can't take this as enough to go by, because he obviously took that time off for a reason.
100%, man. So that is Pedro Ferreira out of Portugal. Next up, we got a guy who last competed in men's physique, actually. So we have not seen him in classic as far as I know. This is Marcos Iglesias Garcia. This is the only guy I couldn't find on social media. But here, what you're going to see is his stage shots from the Mr. Big Evolution Pro, where he took 9th in men's physique. And what I see here is fantastic deltoid development, as well as a very solid midsection too. Probably, one of those guys who's a question mark because we don't know what his legs look like. And in classic, you got to have legs. They don't look bad from this, but it's so hard to tell when they're covered by board shorts. So I guess with that said, Yemi, are there any body parts that you notice that may suffer when looked at in a classic physique lineup?
Yeah, definitely that back. That's like standing out quite a bit. I'd say that his quads look, they look like they're busting at the shorts. And I'm assuming this was last year, because it was either 1 year ago or 2 years ago, but I think 1 year. So I reckon he would have put enough mass to be comfortable about taking those shorts off. But yeah, his back needs a lot more depth in it. I think it's not very deep, and he's against guys that from the backside they will completely smoke you. Like when you look at the top 10 in Olympia, typically every one of them has a back, and when you look at this lineup, pretty much the top, at least I've seen 5 guys at least with a really solid backside. So I think that's where his struggle is going to be. Also, he doesn't look like he's that sharp, so he's probably going to have to go to a new place for conditioning that he might have not been to, and I don't know if he can take it there. So I'd say conditioning, and his backside is a bit weak. And I'd argue that his quads probably would be the thing that I would worry about the least, even though I understand why you would. It's just because I think that sometimes when you see some guys in classic and they have like a bit of a smaller set of wheels, it does almost add to their structure sometimes. Like sometimes it makes their upper body look a bit more dominant, if that makes sense. It depends on how small they are and how detailed they are.
Yeah, it's about balance and proportion. Yeah,
exactly that.
So that is Marcos Iglesias Garcia. Next up, we've got an Olympian from last year. He took 3rd place at the UK Pro. This is Patrick Herchik out of the Czech Republic. Don't really like that photo. This is probably a little bit better. So this is from 4 days ago, so just about a week out. And Patrick's strengths are just, I think he's got some of the best quads out there, just crazy bubbly quads, deep lines, very solid structure. He's one of those guys that has a very volatile physique. That's probably the best way I would describe it. He has very strong strengths. And also, I would say from the back is very vulnerable, though, which is kind of the one thing that people can attack is on that back double bicep. That's where he loses a little bit of points, in my opinion. If we could find a back double here, I think you can even see it from the twisting back double right here. Yeah, I mean, what do you think about his physique?
So when I swim in person in London, I really like the structure. His structure is phenomenal. Arms really good. Muscle belly is beautiful. Super round, super bubbly. And like when you see it on a white guy, it looks kind of cool. Like it's like Logan. He has that same bubbly look. But yeah, his backside, it's not just the back double where he's gonna get smoked. It's also that rear relaxed. It's just not that. It's just not got enough depth there, and it's not really got. He's just not really structurally built to have that great of a back. But from the front, man, like when you see him on stage, your eyes are drawn to him. Like seriously, you really you look at him and go, yeah, he could win the show. Like I had him in second
Yeah,
when I
he's
was
got a spectacular physique, and
so
even
good.
with that back, I mean, he's got a shot at first call out, potentially even top three, top four.
He's definitely in my top four.
Yeah. So that is Patrick Herchik out of the Czech Republic. Next up, we got Phil Jędrzejczyk, who last appeared at the 2022 Mr. Big Evolution Pro. Right here, you're going to see him right here in the middle. This is a stage shot. Let's see what else we can find. I don't really like the quality there. So let's see. This update looks like it's okay. So this is about a week ago. And it looks like he's improved the one thing that I would critique, and he just didn't show up in shape the last show. That was really the big issue. I think he was probably about five weeks out condition, but this looks better to me in terms of condition. There's still some fat to come off, but like this looks much better from last time. I think he's a smaller guy as well. Yemi, what do we think about his physique just from this locker room posing session?
Yeah, so yeah, he does need to be a touch sharper. He's also got kind of weak hamstrings and adductors, so that might hurt him in some of the rear shots. Other than that, he's kind of short, so I think he has to really play on the strength of being like as big as possible, but also as sharp as possible. I think when you're short, you're not 100% dialed in. You do get exposed a lot easier. That's why someone like Terrence is easy. Like he just smokes people because his conditioning is so, so top tier. Same with Madelman. He's not the tallest, but his conditioning is so sharp. It's hard to beat that. With him, I feel like he needs a fair bit of time, a fair bit more muscle. I think his rear is a bit too weak as well. His actual back is not amazing.
Yeah, it needs some more thickness and density to the physique to really stand out.
Yeah, he needs more tissue, but he's good structurally. Like he's got a really beautiful front double, I think. And even when you look at his side chest, his arms, delts, and chest look really good in it. It's just his hamstrings are really letting him down.
Yeah. So that is Philip Jędrzejczyk. So next guy is Thomas Kuhns out of Switzerland. And this is a guy who's appeared at a couple of shows. So he last took the stage at Tokyo and AGP. So this is from 8th place at the AGP. He's coached by Boss of Outlaw. I really like his shape. I mean, what do you think of Thomas's physique?
His structure is so good. Like it's really fucking good. I think he's not got the biggest quads, and I think that might let him down a bit. But like structurally speaking, he's really good. Like I really like his structure. Like his front dub looks phenomenal. I think he just needs a little bit more tissue downstairs, and then he probably because he comes in sharp. He comes in really sharp. Like Bosavalo, he's definitely bringing his guys in condition. So yeah, I feel like he just needs a little bit more tissue downstairs, and then he's gonna be he's gonna be a hard guy to beat, man.
Absolutely, man. The structure is all there, especially up top. I think just beautiful when it comes to how his lats tie into his waist, and then the shoulders are capped as well. I love how even in this front relax, people tell you not to ride the motorcycle, so to speak, but like I mean, he still looks amazing in this just because his lats are so damn big.
Yeah, yeah.
Shape.
That's how I hit my front relax as well. Like if I when you got like really crazy lats, you have to just like
yeah.
and his midsection is really tight as well. He's got a really nice shoulder to waist ratio. I really like his structure.
So that is Thomas Kuntz. Next up, we got a guy. I think this is the biggest sleeper in the entire lineup. This is Miguel Malamo out of Mozambique. So this is 4K quality video from the Mr. Big Evolution Pro, where he took 3rd place, which was his pro debut. He's a very short guy. I think he turned pro in middleweight bodybuilding. So definitely shorter in stature, but what he lacks in height, he makes up for in terms of muscle, in terms of condition, shape. Yeah, I mean, when we look at this posing video, what are your thoughts?
It's a lot of muscle, man. That is a lot of muscle. He is really good. Like there's a reason why he didn't go pro in classic. It's probably because he just didn't make the weight cap. Like he has a lot of tissue, and he's conditioned. He's like, yeah, you can't fault this. This is dense, hard muscle. You know, this is time in the gym. This is a couple years to build. Yeah, he looks phenomenal. He's definitely going to be in that top 5, I think.
Yeah, definitely a sleeper in my picks. So that's Miguel Malamo. Next up, we got Fernando Gornals Margol. And this is his pro debut, I believe. So he turned pro in Masters 45 plus at the European Masters, the NPC European Masters. Shorter guy in Class A. I need to get some better quality stuff. This is a little bit too zoomed in for my liking.
Yeah, pretty bad.
I want to avoid having to pull up the NPC News Online stuff. Okay, this is a little bit better. This is from when he turned pro. So he's a Masters pro, like I mentioned. I think he's got a nice structure. Really, you know, the big criticism I would have here, and it's not as much a criticism as it is just kind of a product of time. But when you start to get into the later stages of your career, especially like after 45, legs typically start to go. That's the big thing that I see here. His upper body looks good. I mean, I think more tissue everywhere is going to be helpful, but it says here 49 years old. He looks fantastic for that age, though.
Like, so good. If I look at that 48, I'm happy.
Yeah, absolutely, man. With that said, you know, I think more size would place him better in this lineup, but again,
still commendable. Still, he looks really
looks
good.
Fantastic. Yeah. So that is Fernando Gornals Margol. Speaking of Masters Pro, we got one of the best Masters Pros in the world. We've got Luis Garcia. He took 4th at the Masters Olympia in Romania this year. And here's a recent update. This is from a day ago. Yemi, what do we think of his physique?
Yeah, this is that old man muscle for real. Like when you talk about old man muscle, this is what you see. Like this is like the tippity top of it because, bro, so much dense, hard tissue, and like the conditioning's there. He's got that old man skin where it's just super thin as well. So yeah, he's got it all going for him, man. And he doesn't actually have the same issue with the downstairs as the last Monsters guy. So his legs from the front are really good. He could maybe do with a bit more hamstring, but I mean they drop really far down. So like it's hard to say that even still. He looks really good, man.
Looks great. That is Luis Garcia. Next up, we got Sam Michelson, and he last appeared at the UK Pro. He took 13th there. This is a guy who I think has a ton of potential. And just looking at his 4K video from the UK Pro, I think his front shots are fantastic. Yemi, what do you think?
Yeah, his front shots are really good. I think I can't really remember him that well. I'm not gonna act like I do. But I feel like if anything let him down, it would have definitely been that rear. Because from the front, yeah, exactly. From the front, he's solid, man. That is like 100% an amazing bodybuilder. But from the back, he does like from a lot of detail and a lot of thickness. But he just pro debuted, so he just needs some time. I reckon he's coached with Peter as well, so I reckon give him a year and he'll be a dangerous guy to go up against.
Absolutely. So that is Sam Michelson. Next up, we got Victor Toledo Pardo, turned pro at the M Pro Classic, and then did the pro show the very next day. So you can see turned pro here and made his pro debut. So this is more of a true pro debut coming up here at the Europa Pro. So here's some stage shots. This is a back shot right here. Big guy, very solid structure, and my probably one critique here, you can see it here in this most muscular, is the wheels need to come up to match the upper body. That's really the big critique I have. Because you can see here, he's got small joints if you look at his knees, his elbows, which bodes very well actually for a tall guy. So I think he just needs to fill out the legs a little bit more in order to match the upper body.
Yeah, I agree. His structure is really good. He's so big; it's just super dominant. But yeah, I'd agree. The legs need to come up a little bit, and I think that his back needs to come up as well. It's big, but it's not thick. you can see that there's a lot of like space there for it to get really big though.
Yeah, and generally when guys aren't posting up, here we go. This is a little bit more, but I'm going to say when guys don't post back shots that often, that's generally a sign that the back needs to come up. It's a signature.
Yeah. No one isn't proud of their big back.
But that's Victor Toledo Pardo out of Spain. Next up, we got one of the favorites for a good reason. This is Herman Pastor out of Spain. He's already won 2 pro shows this year. One of the most accomplished bodybuilders in this lineup, an Olympian. And I'm trying to find a closer video from, so these are comparisons from the Muscle Contest Ireland. Yemi, you had the privilege to compete alongside of Herman. What do you really like about his physique?
The density. This guy is so flipping dense. Like, yeah, you can see it here. Like, look how thick he is. Like, he's actually like he's it's the same as Madelman. He stands to the side and it looks like another person. Like, there's 2 people in one person there. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, he's just super thick, super dense, muscles grainy. He gets peeled. I would say that he's not necessarily the best structurally out of the top 5, but he's going to be one of the hardest to beat in the top 5 because of that grainy, hard muscle that he just has. And he can pose and he can hold a pose for a very long time. If you have him battling it out for a minute, he might outpose some guys.
Absolutely. Definitely one of the favorites in this lineup for a good reason. That is Herman Pastor. Next up, we've got Jivko Petkov out of Bulgaria. So this is from a couple of days ago. And he last appeared at the UK Pro where he took 10th place. I think, honestly, he could have been even higher at that show. Really great structure from this video right here. I was really impressed with his condition, too. The one fault I would say is probably his posing. You can kind of see it here. Posing does need a little bit of work, but definitely no issue with coming in peeled.
No, he's definitely dense. It's his back shots and his posing there just a bit. Yeah, it's not 100% there yet, but I believe he's a new pro as well, so he's got a lot of potential, man.
Yeah, that's Jivko Petkov out of Bulgaria. Next up, we got Ruben Reyes, who is coming off an Olympia appearance last year. Now, didn't place at that Olympia given the depth and the overall size of that lineup. But this is a guy who just has probably one of the most polished looks in this lineup. Like, even just standing there looks crazy, insane. Just that shape right there. And then the lines. I think the lines are the things that stand out to me.
Yeah, I didn't even see this guy when I was looking through the thing. This is such a beautiful structure. Like, it's unbelievable, really. He looks really good. Really good. He's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, I think probably the one critique I would have is arms.
Yeah, his arms are not the best, but he has like good shaped arms though, so I think he has a lot of room for them to get bigger.
Yeah, beautiful structure. Definitely a guy I would be considering for a first call out appearance here. So,
yeah, he's in that first call out 100%. Undeniably.
Next up, we got Esteban Smith, who turned pro at the 2021 Big Man Weekend. He took 12th at this show last year in his pro debut. And I think this is a great shot for him. This is right after he turned pro. This is like 2 years ago, that front lat spread. Let's see if we can find something a little bit more recent. So these are from 9 weeks out. Let's see if we can find something a little bit more recent.
That's that back shot? Oh, that's a check-in, isn't it? That might be better.
Yeah, this is still, I mean, he hasn't posted anything. This is from 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, he didn't post anything. Is that a check-in at the top right, or was that from a few weeks ago?
No, this is from like 19 weeks ago.
Oh God. Okay, well, there's
definitely. Still look at these, I guess. Make
yeah,
calls off of this. I think he's got great structure.
Yeah, he does. I think he needs a. Yeah, no, he has a really good structure. I'm not necessarily You know what? I think it's hard to go by because it's like 19 weeks out. So
Exactly.
he has like, he doesn't look like he has much missing. He maybe could get a bit of a better back, but his arms are really good, legs are really good, hamstrings look good, glutes look good. They're already kind of boxed off, and he's 19 weeks out. So I reckon the condition is going to be probably some of his best.
Mm-hmm. So that is Esteban Smith. And last up, but certainly not least, we got Wesley Vissers out of the Netherlands, placed top 10 at the Olympia last year, finally breaking into that top 10.
Oh yeah,
Now, you've seen Wesley multiple times, Yemi. What do you like about his physique?
structure so good, and those lines in his quads, they're just so deep. Like you just don't really see that kind of depth. Like even look at Brion. I'd say Brion has quite good legs, and look at the depth difference between Wesley and Brion. It's night and day, man. It's such a unique physique. It's beautiful, but it looks better in real life. The thing about Wesley is that he does tend to get better. So either this show will probably be his worst showing out of all of them, or it might be one of his best showings ever. Like that's the kind of guy that Wesley is. He doesn't really get peeled. Like he does have an issue with getting into like that really grainy, hard, shredded conditioning. I remember talking to him backstage at the Arnold Classic, and he was basically saying to myself and Nas how he hasn't seen a bagel in like a year and a half or something like that. Like even in his off season, he doesn't push food that high because of his ability to actually come back down in weight and look, hard and shredded. So I think that's the one criticism that I'll have for him. He might not be amazing from the back when it comes to the glute area, but from the front, phenomenal. His back itself is phenomenal, but there's a reason why he doesn't post very many very many back shots, but here's one. You can even see, like, look at him compared to, like, he's next to Dan, so that's one of my friends, and like he's a amateur he's about to do his second show in super heavies. He was a heavy before, and it's like, you can already, like, when you look at the downstairs, you can see the difference. Like obviously Wesley smokes upstairs, but when you look downstairs, it's just like night and day. Wesley needs a lot more density in that glute area and hamstring area, and also adductor area as well. But you're not going to get marked down too much when you don't have the best adductors. But if you had maybe bigger glutes, they'll probably be a bit easier to get more straighted.
Yeah. So that is Wesley Vissers, our last competitor. So what we will do now is we'll go through this lineup, and Yemi and I are going to make our picks. Now, we could do this a couple of different ways. Yemi, since you're the guest, I'm going to let you pick. Either we can go one at a time and just give all five, or we could alternate back and forth. It's your pick, my man.
Yeah, let's do alternating back and forth. I think that'll be more interesting.
Sounds good. We'll start from five and work our way back up to our winner. So do you want me to go first, man?
Yeah, I want you to go first.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. So in the 5 spot, I've got Miguel Malamo out of Mozambique. One of my favorite physiques in this entire lineup. So much muscle. He controls the things that you need to control going into a show, brings the condition. He has all the muscle needed to keep up with anybody here. I think really it's just going to come down to a structural game. I think the only reason why he will get beat is probably just due to structure. Some of these guys have fantastic structure, and we've seen them at the highest level. And keep in mind, this is only Miguel's second pro show. So the fact that he's in this top 5 just shows how highly I think of his physique. So I've got Miguel Malamo in 5th place.
Yeah, I put him in the 5th as well. I actually, like, before we started this, I wasn't sure who I was going to put 5th, and then I saw him and I was like, he's 5th.
Yeah, just a beautiful physique, man.
Yeah, legitimately.
All right, so next up, my 4th place finisher is going to be Valery Enchev. I love this guy's physique, especially his lines. He has a classic look to the fullest and no glaring weak points, which I think makes him very dangerous in this lineup. I think, again, the only thing that is going to really beat him here is structure. And the 3 guys I've got ahead of him are structurally superior in my mind. So I've got Valery Enchev in 4th place.
Okay, so my fourth place is that P is it Philip Genrick? He's the one
Philip
that was
right?
is it the one
Yeah.
that came? No, not him, sorry. Uh
Patrick Hertzik.
yes. This is my fourth place. So he's already got beaten by the guy that you have in fourth. So I don't see him beating him today. Well, this weekend. I think that his glaring weakness from the rear, it's not enough. He's gonna get smoked from that back shot. So I don't think he's gonna be able to get any higher than fourth. But that structure is so good. So it's gonna be tough between him and Valentine. But yeah, I think he's not as good.
Yeah, it'll be a battle for sure. So Patrick Hertzik in fourth place for Yemi. My third place finisher is Jose Maria Berry, aka Model Man. One of those guys who just has, like Yemi's been calling it, old man muscle, that dense, mature, thick, peeled look. And I'm so glad that this guy can make weight finally with the classic caps moving up. No issue making weight here in classic. I think he's going to thrive and probably get better as the season goes on. This is just an early jump in for him. I'm intrigued to see him stand next to Rough Diesel at Dubai next weekend. That's what I'm really looking forward to, man. That's going to be a hell of a matchup. But I got Model Man in third place.
Okay, so I have the Valentine, yeah,
Val-
Etch Valerie. I have him in third because he's just too complete. Like it's hard to beat that.
yeah.
That's just too complete for me. I
No
have
weakness.
no weaknesses, man. So I have him in third.
So Valerie Inchev in third for Yemi. My second place finisher, I've got Herman Pastor. He won the muscle contest Ireland and the M Pro Classic in Spain earlier this year. He's going back to Spain here in Alicante to reclaim a title. I think the Spanish judges are going to reward his physique for one. And two, I mean, he's just got a fantastic classic physique. He's got the density, the muscle maturity, the condition, the ability to pose. But I do think there is one guy in this lineup who will best him simply because he is more classic. Yeah, I mean, who's your second place pick?
Madelman, second place, 100%.
Right.
He's too dense. With Jaman, I think he's really good. I just think he's competed a lot. And he's got an Olympia quality. He's still got an Olympia to go. And when you see people competing, it's very hard to get better. Like I don't think he was better for the Emperor, and it's going to be the same. So Madelman is definitely there. He's got a bigger weight cap, so he can come in a bit bigger, maybe even a bit fuller than he did at the Arnold Classic, for example. And if he doesn't have to, kill himself to get to the weight cap, then he's going to look a lot more fresher as well. So it's going to be hard to beat this when it's like peaked to perfection. And he's already beat Wesley. And I just think, I think he's going to be second.
Right. So Model Man in second place for Yemi. My winner is Wesley Vissers. I'm picking Wesley to win the Europa Pro. I just think he's probably the most classic guy out of this lineup. He might not be the most conditioned, especially like you mentioned, Yemi from the back has trouble getting those glutes to come in. But I think really his lines and his structure carry him very far. And he's a veteran presence, and he's been on this stage before. Top 10 at the Olympia, carrying a lot of that momentum forward to try to move up in classic physique. I've got Wesley Vissers winning this one.
Yeah, same. Wesley Vissers is winning this 100%. I could probably bet money on it. I think that, like I said, so the reason why he never won the Arnold Classic is because there was a thin layer of water in his glutes. Since then, him and Boss of Outlaw have had two more shows to, kind of figure it out. And he got better at the Yamamoto, and then he got better at the Olympia, and then ended up 8th. So that alone just says to you that Wesley is, a classic physique. 8th in the world. Probably, it's the highest place in the Olympia out of anyone that's here. And he's just too tall. He's just too dominant. And I think he's going to be a lot better this year than he's ever been. So he's probably going to be our best Wesley. He gets better every year. So
You heard it here, folks. Those are our top 5 picks. We're both picking Wesley Vissers to take this one home. So that's going to do it for our picks today. Now, before we get out of here, again, I want to make sure to give a shout out to my special guest, Yemi. Thanks for coming on and making picks, man. Really appreciate your time. And if you guys don't follow Yemi, make sure you go ahead and give him a follow here on Instagram. Again, his tag is Yemi IFBB Pro. Make sure you use all of his codes at Gymshark, code Yemi, Dreamer, Yem10 at Gym Beast. He's also a hard body athlete. So Yemi is really just moving on his way up in classic physique, making waves, doing big things. And before we get out of here, Yemi, I just want to see if you got anything to say. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Got any words for the people?
yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for having the patience to deal with myself, because I know it takes a lot. But yeah, make sure you like and subscribe and all that good stuff, because I think that I was having this conversation earlier, and me and Nas agree. Like, I think it's like this is something that classic physique just needs. Like, we don't have particular people just out here putting that love for just classic physique. We have so many people talking about bodybuilding as a whole. When I turn on my TV or my YouTube, I see people talking about Chris Bumstead. I see them talking about I see them talking about Raymond, and then past that, maybe a bit of Terrence, and then it's just nothing really. You just hear crickets. So, it's very good to see somebody that's actually putting on for the amateurs and for the pros on classic physique itself, because at the end of the day, this bodybuilding stuff is not easy, and to grow on bodybuilding isn't easy either. So to have anybody here trying to put in any kind of effort for us, I appreciate it, and it never goes unnoticed. And I think that we always have to give our flowers to people before it's due. You know what I mean? So I appreciate this page purely on the sheer fact that it's given all of the classic physique people some sort of spotlight, some sort of name. And, I hope something like this continues to grow and become, one of the biggest sources of bodybuilding, man.
Means a lot, Yemi. Thank you for saying those kind words, man.
No problem, brother.
All right, guys. So again, if you want to catch the show, there is a live stream available. Make sure you go to npceuropean.com. Go buy that live stream. It's only 20 euros, 21 US dollars. So very affordable. And that is going to do it, guys. Make sure you keep it classic. We'll see you later.